Now let's look at the third argument that we encounter in the main body of the essay. Teachers complain that having a laptop is too much temptation for some students. They just can't keep themselves from browsing Facebook or playing solitaire in class, so they don't pay attention and miss out on important information, or don't participate in class discussions. To this, I say that college students are adults and need to be treated as adults, and that means they should take responsibility for their own education. If someone wants to chat on Facebook all day, let him. It's his choice to fail, not the teacher's. This is nice. The author is considering an objection to the main argument and offering a reply. Remember that an objection is itself an argument, so we should be able to state the objection as an argument, distinct from the reply, and for our purposes it'll be helpful to do so. So let's restate this objection in a way that fills in the reasoning. What we're trying to do is make explicit the reasoning in the first half of the paragraph in blue. Remember, this is going to be an argument for giving teachers the right to ban laptops from the classroom. Here's a premise that summarizes one of the points being made here. Some students are unable to resist the temptation to use laptops in ways that interfere with their ability to learn and participate in class. Next premise. Banning laptops would remove this obstacle to learning for certain students. Third premise. This is the relevant moral premise. Teachers have a right to set classroom policies that remove obstacles to learning and fulfill the educational goals of the class. Remember, what we're doing here is trying to reconstruct the argument underlying the objection in blue. This third premise isn't stated explicitly in the essay, but what we're doing is reconstructing an argument that we think best fits the author's intentions. It's a moral conclusion, so we need to refer at some point to a moral premise, and one like this would do the job. Now we can infer the moral conclusion. Therefore, teachers have a right to ban laptops from the classroom. Okay, now in the second half of this paragraph, the author gives a reply to this objection. Remember that a reply is also an argument, and it's an argument for a specific conclusion, namely that the objection just given is a bad objection. Now if we grant that in this objection the conclusion follows from the premises, then the reply is going to have to target the truth of one of the premises. So let's take a look at the author's reply. To this, I say that college students are adults and need to be treated as adults. And that means they should take responsibility for their own education. If someone wants to chat on Facebook all day, let him. It's his choice to fail, not the teacher's. The key idea here is expressed in these lines. College students are adults and need to be treated like adults. They should take responsibility for their own education. So how do these points challenge any of the premises in the objection? Let's move this section up and give it some room. This response seems to be directed at the paternalism underlying the objection, the notion that teachers are like parents or father figures, and teachers know what's best for students and have a right to force them to do what they judge to be in the student's best interest. The author's response is to say, no, you don't have that right, or at least not an unconditional right. Part of being an adult is being free to make bad choices and take responsibility for those choices. In terms of the argument on the right, this reply is really a challenge to premise 3. Teachers don't have an unconditional right to set classroom policies as they see fit. In some cases, the rights of the students outweigh the rights of the teacher, and the implication is that this is one of those cases. So as we've reconstructed it here, this comes down to a conflict of rights issue, the rights of teachers versus the rights of students. And that's how I would recommend the author of this essay frame the objection and the reply, as a conflict of rights issue. It already does this to a certain extent, but I would push the author to make the reasoning more explicit.